Yo, yo, yo. Got some like Night Stalker replay. This hero's really bad. You shouldn't play it. That's my first piece of advice. Um, the next thing is, if you really do want to play Night Stalker, you should always pick it quite late. Like this is not really a hero you can just pick like one, two, three anymore. You have to see their carry and their support. You need to know that there's a lane that you can actually sort of exist in. So Faceless Void plus CM, or potentially even like Razor and Snapfire, it's like a bit much, but you know, anything is possible. You have like a pause for Ench, I think, or Dazzle, I'm not sure. Anyway, the first thing I would say is that um, this is like purely a. This is something that you should apply on every single core, on the offlane especially, is that you should try and not buy. You shouldn't start with a lot of regen because the tangos, especially, it takes 48 seconds minimum to use 3 tangos, and in the first minute, you're already gonna get the bounty rune money, and you're gonna want to ship an item in, right, with your 90 gold or whatever you might get. So it would just be better to spend 90 more gold on like a fairy fire, which will give you 2 damage for the first minute, rather than buy 6 tangos and then ship in a fairy fire, because then when it's on the courier, you don't have it in your inventory. So usually I start with 3 tangos as my only regen, and maybe 2 branches to make it 5 tangos essentially. And if things work out, obviously you can turn 2 branches into a wand. On the cheap, but yeah, don't start with this much regen. I usually start 3 tangos, or if it's the sort of lane where they're gonna really try and burst you, this probably isn't it because Void is weak level 1. Um, you can start with Sal. But in this lane, I would just buy uh 3 tangos and a bunch of damage because you are close to Void's damage. He hits for 60, you hit for 64. If you push it to like 70 or something, you can even get denies on him. And the easiest way to do that is just like 3 fairy fires or gauntlets or whatever the fuck you want. Um, But yeah, just try and look at the lanes and think about the win conditions and stuff like that. The other thing is make sure you move your courier out of the base. Like this guy's done this. The courier can buy items while it's slightly outside the base. You can tell if this thing is the border of it is gold while you're selecting the courier, and that will save like 4 seconds off your courier. So that's just a good habit to get into. Um, so the other thing is there's not really any point like just standing here as Night Stalker. You should like scout here and just see if he places a ward. There's like no information to gain from being here. You could even die if they come up on from the high ground because they have like you know, a lot of heroes missing. It's just kind of bad for 2 people to be standing here on the low ground, getting no information. Um, if you are gonna contest the level 1 rune, it is a good idea to like just use your Q because you're gonna be full mana by the time the lane starts anyway. And with your 90 gold, you should now ship an item, 140 gold. I would just get like Ring of Protection or something like that. Anyway, you block, it's good. Let me just slow down a tiny bit here. Alright. So, the first thing is you should secure this with your Q, it's fine. But you don't really need to put yourself in a position where, because it's 2v1 and this guy is not showing, and Void is weak level 1, you can just go up and hit it, and you save your Q as a attack speed slow to deny with. Prioritize the deny, it's good. After the deny, I would aggro that one creep off Void like as fast as possible so he has no chance of denying. Don't go help your Ench here, just focus on the last hitting. It's good if they waste their spells on her. Now you guys have a big wave in, and it's because you dragged back. It's usually a bad idea to drag back if you are sort of the stronger lane, and you definitely are against Void, because you have 5 armor and 64 damage against 3 armor and 60 damage, and his level 1 is so weak that it's almost the same as yours. That's really bad. You should either Q him and attack speed slow him, or you secure the range, but it's a small mistake. It's really bad to save like 430 gold. I will always just buy like extra regen or wand or bracer or anything. Just, like, fighting on the tower is really bad. It doesn't really accomplish anything because he has the +3 armor, +1 health regen. There's really not any point being here. you should either take the next wave and put it somewhere, or you should just like not fight under their tower. It's just kind of irrelevant. Anyway, your Eng takes the lane, he pulls into the hard. It's really bad. You have to go run over here. Oh no, it's so bad. Okay, that's fucking stupid, but it is what it is. You're buying like the Necro 1, I guess. It's fine. What do you have on the curry actually? This is a really bad build. The Bell of Strength is like the worst item to buy in lane, because it's just plus 6 damage. It's kind of irrelevant. You can buy a Bracer and it's pretty good. Like, you don't have to rush Necro 1 this hard. Like, you do still have to do something in lane. And if you really want to rush Necro 1, you can just buy the Sage's Mask. It's a really efficient item, lets you spam out your Q. Guys are pushing in all the time. I think it's really bad because you end up having to play under the tower when you have the higher attack damage. So you should really just be denying the Void a lot, especially if you buy the belt. This is the problem with Dragon Back, is that it allows the enemy hero to really aggress on you, because if you fight him back, 3 melee creeps are going to fight you. The main point of aggroing back is either to cheese out range creep denies, or if you're in a bad lane you want to pull the equilibrium back. But if you're stronger than Void, which I think you definitely are, then you should really just focus more on when he aggroes back, you walk forwards and you fight him with the creep wave advantage. Okay, so now it's night time. I would probably try a push at minute 5 just with the catapult. So I would just like push it out as hard as I can. Just don't worry too much about denies. The way he's playing, it's really obvious that his pos 5 isn't here as well. So if you could have pushed this in, you could have done like maybe 400 damage to tower. It would have been pretty good. Like you can just queue this creep off with the Sage's Mask, regen. How are you taking tower hits, man? It's so bad. I don't know what you aggroed off. You steal this wave now because you're 1v2, and also it would tank the tower. I mean, the catapult would do more damage. It's really bad. Like when you're 1v2 like that, you have no boots as well. This build is just really bad. Like you have no fucking items to actually play the lane with. You can get like, I usually get Bracer, Wand, Brown Boots into Necro 1, and then it'll be like 2 minutes late, but then I at least like pressure their carry in lane, otherwise he just free farms and 2 kills. You can even get raindrops. Anyway, you go gank mid, it's kind of pointless. Guys go on this guy. The reason it feels so difficult to get kills is because your build is like just rushing Necro 1. You have no damage and no trade potential and no move speed without boots. It's just really bad. Rushing out Necro 1 this early on Night Stalker is really not that strong. The point of Necro 1 is it fixes your 10-minute problem where it's daytime and there's nothing to do. As long as you can get Necro 1 before 10 minutes, or like even 12 and 13 is acceptable, it would be way better to get boots and Bracer and Wand just to be able to play the lane a bit better. And you get your Necro 1, you go jungle with it. TP bot, it's good TP. So you get your phase boost now, which is good. It's crazy that you don't have magic, whatever, magic stick yet. Now it's 10 minutes, you should go farm your Ancients with your Necro 1, but the problem is you have like Lycan as well, so you have like 2 people that want to farm Ancients, really. So I don't think this build is even good, because like, you're taking this farm, right, but look at what Lycan is forced to play, do now. You steal his Ancients, like you literally take it off him, and look at him. He's like losing efficiency because of you. Like, the job of the Depository is to make space for his carry and his cores. Like, you're making him run around the map, and you're taking the farm where he wants to be. Like he's farming towards bottom lane. You're taking all the easy farm because you've built in like a pathetic way where you can't stand on any lane because you have no move speed. Like you should be playing top, and the Lycan can farm all of this. It's just really greedy and bad build. This game you definitely get phase into brace into like medallion, and you just play around like. This Necro 1, it limits the space on the map very badly. Okay, now you buy wand at minute 12. This is good. Leave the guys to go kill the creeps while you farm the lane. I would be really careful right now because yeah, this guy is level 8. He hasn't used his chrono yet. You have no teammates near. You also have no items, like no tanky items, so it's pretty obvious play. He fucks it up really badly, but it's still really bad and aggressive there. Like it works out in a double kill, but if they landed their spells, it's really bad because it's like not a bait with snap bolt, but they wasted their spells. But, I don't know. It seems overly aggressive. You can use your Necro 1 off cooldown as well. There's no point having it on off cooldown like this. It just treats like a Midas. Here you should just run into him and press W. Like it would save a lot of damage. See, you like had 60 seconds where you didn't use Necro to farm this camp as well. Anyway, don't be afraid to buy regen when you're low like this. Like I would just buy a Tango or something. Cloak is really bad, like casual cloak, because it's 15% magic resist, but the bracer is almost always more efficient. It's just like, it's less magic resist, but the 120 health is usually going to be better, and it gives you more damage, obviously. If you're not going to build it into pipe, which you're not, because... This is a really bad way to start the team fight. The way you build, like, you can't really sit at the front and tank like this. Like you have to basically run in after some spells can cast. So the fact they initiate on you is really problematic because now you know, like it's just awkward to play like this. That's really bad. Yeah, I mean it's just a really shit fight. The whole point of Night Stalker is that he has really good vision and a lot of mobility, so especially if you do this build where you have 500 move speed, you like you're the second person into the fight, and you try and save whoever they initiate on, you disengage your W. But if they stun you, like you can't save yourself, it's just it doesn't use your hero in an efficient way. Going on here, 1v2, halfway up the lane is really stupid. Like, you need to farm any item, basically. Like, you might think that you're quite strong because you're Night Stalker at night, but if you look in your inventory, this item doesn't really help you fight at all. It just gives you 6 strength, essentially. And Cloak is not really a real item either, so, like, your net worth is, like, 2k. You're, like, basically, you're very, very, very underfarmed to play very defensive. Oh no, this is really bad, like walking off to go farm while your team are here, you're level 13 voice grip trying to do things, and you like fuck off and run around in circles. You need to understand that you need to cancel this Q, CM ult right now, like tunnel vision on people this hard, like Pugner as well, being drained, like it's just really bad to fight like this. Like you need to utilize your mobility in a way that makes it hard for the enemy team to play. You just run straight lines and get the kill. But it's just like greeding to farm that one lane top is just so bad. Like, you have to play really selfless on position 3. Anyway, once you get BKB, I think you can probably fight, and you should also carry like Dusk as well, because minute 21, just because you don't see any invis, is usually when the Glimmer Cave timings are out, and it's very important that Night Stalker gets some kills with his VKB timing, so I would just buy that. This is really bad because obviously the enemy team are going to be trying to push out top lane, just because in a normal game of Dota, like the way I would put it is that the fact that no one is defending bot tower is really suspicious, right? Like, if you look at the situation that you guys are in right now, they don't have anyone bot. They have one CM basically solo defending bot. In most normal games, when the enemy team are like Void, Snap, stuff like this, they want a team fight, especially if they've been winning team fights and they're strong. So you need to assume that Dire want to run at you, and they're not gathered around bot to push this tier 1, and you have no tier 1 mid, so the only real possibility is that they're going to push tier 1 top. So just standing here and farming this when both these camps are available is just really, really bad position. You spawn your Necro 1s really early in the base and they're not actually doing anything. Like now you can farm Ancients because your Lycan isn't here. And they're going to run out before you finish farming the Ancients, so it's really bad. You should really have your Mithril Hammer instead of any item just to farm a little bit faster. And in lane as well, when you're trying to push out fast, just use your Q on the range creeps. You have a lot of mana regen with the Necro 1. This is nice. You're like pushing out the alternative lane. It's good. Now you can fight with your BKB. I bet someone on the enemy team has a Glimmer, right? Nope. Okay, but someone should. Now you're going Ags. This item got really nerfed. It's like not really you just rush this item and win anymore. You should look at the game and think about what the enemy team have. They have a lot of magic damage and they have a lot of single target as well. I would just get Pipe into Halberd. But since you have BKB, I would get Halberd next, just for this Void, because he's going all attack damage, and Razor as well is annoying. Having this sort of AoE doesn't really accomplish much anymore, because the item is nerfed a lot. And the faster your Ags as well, that's doing strong hits. This is really good. This is like how nicely you should start the fight. The fight begins. You're not Chrono, you're not Pugner, you're not anything. But you need to think about the priority here a little bit, right? Right now you should just ult, do damage, W in, get 3 people, it's good. But you should run over and Q this guy first so he doesn't get all his ults off to begin with. And the problem is that if your Void Spirit is dead, it's not really a fight anymore. But it is good positioning. So, yeah, you get caught here. And the Lycan now has no ult. This is a really bad fight. Manages to TP out of these. God. Try and buy out before you die as well. He's got unliable. Anyway, you guys run top, you get all these kills. It's good. It's like a perfectly good bait. This is pretty good team fighting, like just focusing on keeping on top of people, and the spellcaster and keeping them silenced. It's all fine. You have to use the Necro 1 to farm Ancients, it's like the main benefit of having a Necro 1. Either their Ancients or your Ancients. This is like a little bit too enthusiastic, it's like too much to dive like this. Once the silence runs out, you should just give up on this Void. There's no way you can do it. Even if you didn't do that, they have like uses and things and you can use them. Just try and like calm down. You guys are gonna win this game if you just fight normally 5v5 with Lycan or Nice to go. You don't need to commit so deep. I would be careful here, because that was usually when you're farming here. That's usually when the enemy team uses their smokers. Yeah, you should just ult at the start of the fight for the global vision. Don't save it to do damage. It's not really that important. Here, as you're running, you should Q to get them off you. Like just spam your Q off cooldown whenever you're in trouble. Or we cancel the CM ult as well, probably. 4-man Q, but it's too late. It's just a bad fight in general. This is why the Halberd would probably be better. Then they can't chrono you and kill you. One man pushing bot is fine. I would get like, I would have gone a really different build, and I would have gone Abyssal Blade to kind of control the Phases Void or Cypher Vice. Or I could have gone like full tank utility build as well to save my team. Like this is just kind of an awkward build where you're kind of trying to do back damage, but really it's not that impressive against a bunch of BKBs and stuff. Anyway, you finally finish your pipe. It's so late, minute 44 pipe. Should definitely get it before Ags. Pipe's most useful like around the minute 25-ish mark when there's a lot of team fights happening. This is good, but just try and stay on their supports because you can't do damage to their cores. Like this is fine. Just try and you can silence this guy if you run into him with W. Just place it really better. You're like jungling so much on off lane. I mean, the thing is, this is like a mentality problem that's happening. Really, more than play, because the teamfight positioning is fine for like a mid. The thing is, when you play offlane with an obvious win condition like Lycan, all Lycan wants to do is farm the jungle, farm his ancients, farm the lane. He's going to get his timing, which is Necro 3, and maybe Cuirass or maybe BKB, and it's going to be like minute 24, and he's going to be completely unstoppable against this enemy team. The Void went Battle Fury. Pugna is naturally very weak against Lycan with Necro 3, because he can just purge. Razor is very naturally weak against Lycan. Snapfire is very naturally weak against Lycan. They have no real good control. CM just dies to Lycan pretty much. Frostbite's okay. So all you have to do this game is understand that you guys have managed to pick the perfect hero to win the game with. Like you probably just last pick this or something, like 7th pick. You also have Void Spirit, who is probably on track to have a good game as well. They don't have much control. So you going Necro 1 is like ruining the timings of your whole team, because now you guys don't have this minute 15 to 20 timing where there's a Necro 3 Lycan running rampant and his Night Stalker is just walking around like tanking for him and cancelling spells. Instead he has some guy in his jungle stealing his camps, like farming where he wants to farm, and with no utility and no tankiness and no move speed because he didn't even go boots. It just makes the game so awkward to play for your cause. Like, don't go into the game thinking that I have to get 600 GPM, I have to get Ags and fucking solo carry every game. Like, I don't usually think like that. I just think, how are we gonna win this game? Like, what timings are we gonna be strong in? And the other thing is, you need to care a lot more about the laning stage. buying absolutely no items to help you secure the lane is really, really bad. Like, just straight up rushing items is just a really stupid concept. Whenever you look at really high MMR games, you'll see that even when people play like, like Battle Fury Ursa, right, it's the ultimate greed build, or even Battle Fury Anti-Mage, um, they will get like Orb of Venom on Anti-Mage, because if you can ruin the offlaner's farm for 1,000 gold with your Orb of Venom, for example, by winning the lane, the 400 gold maybe you lose on Orb of Venom because you lose a little bit of attack speed, you lose the gold you spend on it, obviously. That's not going to be a problem because you're going to have an extra 4 or 5 minutes in the mid game where the offlaner doesn't have the tools to control you. And it's the same in this game as Night Stalker against Void, especially because Void is your natural counter this game. He can chrono you. It's their main lockdown. Everyone else you can run away from or silence, or you have tools to deal with. So if you can shut down Void to the point where he basically just wants to AFK jungle instead of joining fights, you can pretty much dictate the entire tempo of the mid game. So, and the way you win lane is, firstly, you need to work on your laning mechanics. The main thing is buying good items to facilitate um, last hitting and denying, obviously, and winning fights and winning trades. But the other thing is understanding the concept of aggroing and when it's a good idea to fight and when it's not. The basic idea of playing a side lane in Dota is that you want the creeps to be near your tower so that they can't dive you and you have a lot of room to run at them with. And if you're under their tower, that's really not something that's very good for you. And you should try and like when he aggroes back, you should like walk up next to him while he has 3 range creeps on him, and you just have one range. While he has 3 melee creeps on him, and you just have one range creep on you, and you should just fight him, and then he's forced to back, and then it just gives you free control over the lane. Um, the other thing is try and abuse the tree line a little bit more. So like when you last hit and there's no creeps to contest, there's no reason to show in lane. Like just stand in the trees, and then they can't harass you for free with Snapfire, and it makes you a more unpredictable. Like you just pop out of nowhere and fight the snap, or you last like hit the void. Right? It's just a good idea. A lot of the time you're dying when your pos 4 is not on the lane. That's something that's just so easy to fix, especially if you don't buy boots. If you do buy Necro 1, the main benefit is farming ancients. So that's something to keep an eye out on. Um Belt of Strength is really bad. Is there anything I haven't covered? Um in team fights as well, like don't just tunnel vision so much on what you're doing. Like you're just one member of the team, right? Like if you look at this game, like mid game, right? Look at the net worths. You have 7k net worth, 2k of it is Necro 1, a bunch of it is on like Cloak and random garbage like that. Uh, like you just need to see like if your Lycan is ready to fight or not. You can get a 4-man silence, you can get a 4-man Q, whatever, it doesn't matter. If your Lycan is not ready with form. There's a fight near bottom side shop where your Void Spirit gets jumped and picked off, and then you run in and it's a nice 3-man silence, but like there's nothing good can happen. It's a 3v5 fight basically, because your Lycan didn't have ult either. It's a really bad 3v5 fight as well because it's basically just you and 2 supports. So try and just try and realize that you're just playing basically a supporting cast. You're playing a support. You're trying to help your 2 cores win the game. You're not really trying to win the game by yourself. Obviously, it depends if you don't have Lycan on your team. Sometimes you have to play more, proactive and trying to get things done by yourself. But when it's such a free game like this, you can take a step back. You don't need to farm. Um, Someone that's really good for this is Zai from Secret. Uh, he plays offlane for Secret, obviously, and he can play really, really sacrificial. There are games where he plays Nature Prophets off lane, and at level 4 even he will TP to his safe lane and he'll gank his carry's lane. And for the rest of the game, he like won't ult on Nature's Prophet except in team fights, and he won't push out lanes. He won't jungle. He'll just buy all the defensive items, and there'll be games like minute 20, he's less farmed than his pos 5. It doesn't matter because you know it's not relevant how much farm you have, or how much fun you have, even as long as you win the game. Um, the other thing I would say is the other thing I would say is that you show way too much on the lanes as Night Stalker, and you've shown lanes where the enemy team are likely to push. If nobody is bot at minute 20 when they have all their spells, they're going to be top. If no one's, because there's no mid tier on tower, that's just something you can think about. And you don't really want to be showing on the lanes as an offlaner in general. So this is kind of the problem with offlane, is that you basically have to play in a really, really, like, positioning is probably the most difficult thing about this lane, because one, you don't want to jungle because jungling is really inefficient, right? And also your carries, your cores usually want to jungle. And the other thing is you don't really want to show on any lane, because if you show on a lane, then it gives the enemy team a lot of confidence and a lot of knowledge, especially if you are the one who's going to be jumping people and catching people, especially like Blink offlaners like Axe and Legion. So if you can't jungle and you can't lane, it makes the game kind of hard to play, right? But really what you have to do is you need to win your lane like a lot of the time. And when I say win the lane, that doesn't mean like you have to be 7k net worth minute 10 and the enemy carry is like 2k net worth and he's 0 and 15. But you need to be hitting your timings consistently every single game. Like you need to be hitting your phase boost timings, your bracer timings, your blink timings, no matter what lane you're against. So that at minute 11 and minute 12, when you have the blink and you have the like phase bracer, maybe just a hood, you can pretty much just group up your supports and run around the map and pick people off. Um, like that's the main thing. Like, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like whenever I play, right, you can see the sort of builds I'm doing. So I'm playing center. I start with this. I have very little regen. I have a lot of Verifiers that helps me fight. Then I'm constantly shipping in more regen and more, like, look how many items I have. I probably buy like 6. I wonder if I can show it better here. No, apparently not. But like I have my bracer, my phase, and then my blink at 17 or whatever, and then you know it's just a lot better than some shitty Necro 1 build where you're just completely irrelevant. Your team have to play like 3v5 because your Lycan's trying to farm as well. And see, I have my anti-mage, so I know I'm playing like a support role. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry if I rambled a bit much, but um, really it really is just a mentality thing. Don't do things because someone told you to do them. Really sort of understand the reasoning behind it. Like, I can tell from this replay that someone told you that you buy Necro 1 because it's OP, because you can farm with it, right? And then someone else told you that Ags on Night Stalker is OP or something like that. But really, a lot of the time, the sort of popular the popular consensus is not always correct, and it's also obviously situational from game to game. So just try and think about how you are planning to win the game rather than just following some set build and playing in the same way and aggroing back in the same way every game. Anyway, good luck, and I'll see you next time.